everybody, welcome to Bones Collector. I'm going to talk today about a couple of games, even though you only see one here, that are really the opposite of each other. One's a Euro game, one's an adventure Ameritrash style game. I hope that I don't offend you by saying Ameritrash, that's just what I call them. But this Ameritrash style game is called Fortune Glory, and the other game, the Euro game I'm going to talk about, is Atiwa by Uwe Rosenberg. So first we're going to talk about Fortune Glory, because Laura and I just got done playing it, and it came out in 2011. The designer is Jason C. Hill and Jack Scott Hill. So this game's been out for a while, and this is a reprint that just was done this year. Or last year, or just
this
recently.
Year, I think.
This year. So the first thing I always do is talk about the publishing of the game, and I want to talk about this kind of a thin box that you get with this game, and I think MSRP is around the $70 mark. The game board itself is the artwork on it. The map is very nice, and it has a glossy finish to it, which doesn't bother me. If you have strong lights or something, it may bother you a little bit.
A little hard.
And even the cards are glossy, and the cardboard information sheets for the villains and stuff are glossy finishes, and your character cards are glossy. But I like it. There's something about that I like. I liked it. I like the glossy finish. I do wish the game board itself was of better quality. It's not a very good quality board, very thin, and I thought in this day and age of board gaming, I just don't think there's any excuse for poor game boards, and this isn't the best. But it'll suffice, but you have to take pretty good care of it. It'll rip. I mean, it's not a good quality game board.
MSRP is $100.
Oh, the MSRP is $100?
It's selling for $69.97 at Game Nerds.
Okay,
$69.97. The MSRP is $99.95.
Yeah. The other complaint that I have about the publishing of the game are these plastic stupid things. These miniatures, I guess you call them. There's a bunch of them in the game for the villains, and I would have much preferred cardboard standees, because when these go in the dump, they're just going to be there for a million years. Cardboard standee, of course, will disintegrate in the dump after a while, and I like that. Plus, the cardboard standees would be in color, so I don't really care for these, and I always complain about it, and hopefully some other people get on the bandwagon with me, and let's get this stopped. I mean, that's ridiculous. If you're going to give us plastic, paint it, and that's enough of that. The card stock I thought was outstanding. You get a lot of cards in this game because it's an adventure game. So you're going to be interacting with these cards, event cards, city cards, gear cards you can get for your characters, location cards, artifact cards, danger cards, villain cards, villain enemies cards. So lots of cards in the game. And in a game like this, you want to have a lot of cards to keep the game fresh. So we did buy one expansion, and we do have a couple, I think, of smaller expansions we bought that gave us some cards also. And one of them was the Danger Pack #1 and Sands of Cairo. So we got those, and then we also, like I say, got the Rise of the Crimson Hand expansion for it to give us more cards. Variety is the lifeblood of a game like this, so you want to have a lot of cards in this game. I'm not going to explain how this game is played. I'll just give you a brief overview. You're just going to travel around this world map, and you're trying to collect the two currencies are fortune and glory. It takes X amount of fortune to win the game. We played it cooperatively. You can play this game competitively, and you can also play it on teams. So that's kind of cool. Gives you a little bit of versatility in the playability of the game. But we played it cooperatively, and so we had to get 20 fortune before the villains went up to number 15 on this villain tracker. So that's what you're trying to do in this game. You're traveling around these locations. You have artifacts that are laid out on the board that not only are you trying to get them, but the villains are trying to get them also. And you'll have a marker that matches each one of the artifacts, like this one blue one I showed you here in the Indonesian jungle is the matching symbol of this blue skull, and it's the Amulet of Darkness. And that was a hard one because it took 5 dangers to win that artifact. So that's what you're trying to do in this game. And you have a pushback. The AI in this game is very tough, and we were playing against the mob. We got our butts kicked by the Nazis yesterday, because that's another faction that you're going to play against, the Nazis, the Rise of the Crimson Hand, and then we have the mob that we're playing against. So there's lots of rules to this game, and you have to read and understand, for the most part, what everything in this game does before you start to play it. And it does come with some player aid cards that are very nice, and appreciate it for sure. In a game like this, where you're trying to learn it and play it as quickly as you possibly can, you want to have these player aids, because and this is a cooperative game round. It tells you what's going to happen in the game round. The initiative phase, move phase, and adventure phase are the three things that the heroes will do, and then it has the villain phase, and it gives you a list of the 3 things to go through on the villain phase, and then the end phase and how to replenish the artifacts. There's always at the beginning of each round going to be 4 artifacts available to players and villains during the game. Hey you guys, just a small addendum. I forgot a couple of very important things about Fortune Glory I wanted to mention. First of all, there's a playthrough, if you're going to play a cooperative adventure of Fortune Glory, done by a guy named Paul Darcy. Now, I've learned several games watching Paul Darcy's videos. He does a tremendous job, and I just want to give the guy a shout out. So if you want to see how to play Fortune Glory, watch Paul Darcy's video. And then also on BGG, you can get these flow charts, and they look a little bit complex, but it helps you remember how to play certain situations, and they're very, very helpful. The villains in this game are very tough. Hey, the mob was tough. They have a villain card you're going to draw at the end of every round when the villains go through their phase, and it tells you what to do, and it gives some more benefits and powers to the villains that are in the game. Not to mention, on the mob information sheet on the back, it's called Mob Tactics. You could draw a Mob Tactics card, and it gives them another outpost out on the board, which generates fortune. And every time they have 3 fortune, they cash it in and move up 1 on the track over here, the villain track. Now, in addition to when they're stealing artifacts, they move up 2, and they will take artifacts from you. Trust me, it's a very aggressive AI. And we got murdered yesterday by the Nazis, and it has a Zeppelin in the game, so it was very difficult. I think the mob was a little easier because you didn't have to deal with that Zeppelin. But hey, it's a fun game. I think what I would like to say about this game is, if you are a person that likes a story and a game that feels like it's adventurous, you're going to love Fortune and Glory. I like it. Lori and I like it. It played probably in 90 minutes to an hour. Excuse me, 90 minutes to 2 hours game time for these games once you learn it. As you're learning it, it'll take you a little longer. But because there are a lot of rules, the rule book is very good. It's a revised edition, so it has everything in it that you need to know. It's super nice, well done rule book. Even in the end, in the back, it has a glossary of terms, and it has an index if you're looking for something specific in the rule book. But I think once we got going, we kind of learned some of the little nitpicky rules and nuances of the game, and we're able to remember as we were, because you have temples that you have to remember how they work, and collapse and so forth. But it's a fun game. Now, the other game I want to talk about is Atiwa by Uwe Rosenberg, and this is the antithesis of this game. Because this game is a Euro-style game, and it just has a flow to it. You know, Ameritrash style games where you're chucking all these dice, and the dice will burn you in this game, something horrible. And then there'll be other times when you're rolling these dice and you have a great run of luck. For instance, I had to roll 8 dice. I had to call out a number. I was doing a sneak test, which you have to do to destroy an outpost, and you call out a number, and I had to roll 8 dice. So I said number 3, and I rolled the dice. Now, if I got even 1 3 on all 8 of those dice, just 1 3 showed up, I didn't pass the test, and I couldn't destroy that outpost. But no 3s showed up, and we were able to win the game. So that was cool. It was a high moment when that happens to you when you're rolling dice. You're like, we just won.
It's just a random game.
Yeah, there's a lot of randomness in this game, but it's fun because I think it does suck you. Did you think? I think it sucks you into the world of what you're trying to do. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's very thematic, and these artifacts are so cool. The Helmet of the Damned, the Valley of the Golden Mummy, the Amulet of Darkness, just stuff like that just sucks you into this theater of the game. But in Atiwa, this is a game about ecology and the balance of nature and the fruit bats. And we just played this the other night, and we've played it a few times, but in Atiwa, you're just trying to make a bat farm.
We played it twice yesterday. I mean, it doesn't take that long to play.
I think it took us an hour each play. It's pretty complex. I mean, it says here on the box, and I got the lid upside down, so I'm going to keep flipping this like this, but it's called an advanced level game, and I don't want that to scare you because it isn't that bad, is it?
No.
I'm surprised that it says that,
Yeah.
actually.
I mean, we have Grand Austria Hotel, and it says
Expert
level. I don't think, I don't know. This seemed pretty easy.
Once you learn the rules to that, it's very instinctive for what you're doing.
It flows. The game flows, and you are trying to build up a bat farm and score as many points as you can while doing so. And but anyways, what else I want to say about this?
He's napping.
So the bat farms, that's something you probably want to go after in this game and get as many bats as you can, because from what I've read online and gathered from playing the game, getting bats is really a nice way to score points. And you're trying to put families, get them trained also on your farm, and you get a lot of points for those. But man, if the more families you have, hey, it's Uwe Rosenberg, you gotta feed them. After you have some of these trees and fruit and wild animals and goats on your farm, you don't want to lose them, but they have to be fed, and you're like, oh, I mean, there's tough decisions to make in this game. And this game is in my top 100 for a number of reasons. It plays very smoothly. I enjoy the game. It's a nice game design.
It plays well at 2.
Plays outstanding at 2-player count, and also the theme is phenomenal because it's so important that we understand how dangerous our existence is if we ignore things like the fruit bat. And I just really enjoy it when people say, yeah, you know what, you're right, we do need to pay attention. And these fruit bats are important. They eat fruit and run around for hundreds of miles and poop them out and grow trees. and that's important to us to survive on this planet. And I like that Uwe Rosenberg took the time to make a game that sends a positive message to everyone. And so, you got to give credit where credit is due. Thank you, Uwe Rosenberg. This is an outstanding idea for a game, and Lori and I love this game. Hey, I'm going to tell you right now, I like Uwe's games, and we've played them all, but I sold Feast for Odin, I sold Caverna, I sold Newstort, I sold Le Havre, I sold
Fields of
Arla. I mean, we got rid of all those huge Uwe Rosenberg games, sold Agricola.
Yeah.
And we kept...
Caverna.
Caverna. Yeah, I said Caverna. But
Sorry.
We kept Atiwa, and we kept the two-player only games, Agricola, All Creatures Big and Small, Caverna, Cave versus Cave, and we have... Patchwork. And he was a co-designer
on Nova Luna, yeah.
So his smaller games are ones that we're attracted to. And if you have not played the 2-player only versions of, I'm getting off the track. If you have not played the 2-player only games of Agricola and Caverna, you need to do that, especially if you play a lot of games with just a partner. Those games are fantastic and just don't need all that whole box of Caverna. But this game is fantastic. I can highly recommend it. Again, this is in my top 100. Is Fortune Glory in my top 100? I don't know. I mean, there's so many board games that I love, and
there's so many adventure games.
Yeah, and there's lots of adventure games. I love Touch of Evil. I think I like Touch of Evil a little better just because
That's because of the theme.
Yeah, the theme is just, I love scary games. And this is scary in its own right. I heard somebody say they play this on Halloween. I think that's great. Because you are going against the evil, the Nazis.
The Nazis, the mob, or the...
It seems like we're never done with Nazis
Hand.
on this planet. Nazis are always trying to take over. But both games are fun in their own right, I guess, is the message I want to pour out onto you today, into the gaming community. They are fun. If this looks like a game you would enjoy, you probably will. Laura and I enjoyed both. And I say that all the time in our videos. Don't have all Euro games or all adventure games like this in your library, because you want to switch gears and say, I'm tired of that, let's do this. And so that's important to kind of have a mix of games when you're putting together your gaming library. And this is one you can definitely consider for fun. I mean, it's pretty intense.
Well, it's just random.
Yeah.
I mean, there's
Super
so
random.
much dice rolling in this game. If you can't handle random...
And you have to learn the rules of rolling.
And there's very little dice mitigation.
Yeah. You have to roll a 4, 5, or 6 in this game, like a lot of games. And when you roll your 3 dice, whatever your skill test says you get to roll, you roll your 3 dice, and if you have 1 4, that's good enough. I got 1 success. If I need 3 successes, I got 1. I get to roll all 3 of them again. As long as I get 1 success every time I roll, I get to keep rolling these dice. And that's something that you have to know when you're playing this game, or you won't stand a chance.
Yeah.
And but it's a fun game. I enjoyed my time with it so far. We're going to keep this game for sure and play it some
I think
more.
it'll be more fun the more we play it and the
Yeah.
more we get comfortable with it, not have to keep checking what we're doing all
It's
the time.
fun, and yeah, the Nazis. Well, that's going to be a tough one. And I heard the Crimson Hand is virtually impossible.
Yeah.
But that's fun. You don't want to win in a game like this all the time, especially when you're playing cooperatively. We want to lose once in a while because that keeps you coming back.
You can play this competitively too. Did you say that?
Yep.
Okay.
You can play it competitively, and you can play it on teams.
Yeah.
So that's kind of.
You can play up to 8 people.
I said
Yeah.
that's the versatility of this game.
Yeah.
That's pretty nice. But yeah, my cats left it alone. I was very surprised they didn't run off with any
He's
of our
still-
characters.
This one's still asleep.
Yeah, but we had a good time. Hey, yeah, that's all. I just all the rambling I want to. I think that's all I want to ramble about today. I think it's a well-balanced game, which is probably hard to do in these adventure games. I think it's pretty hard to do. Biscuits hates my phone, so she throws it on the floor.
She does not like phones.
She hates. And you're on the phone. She's going to chew on it. But yeah, so I wanted to recommend these games to you. If depending on what you like, both of these games are just fabulous, and that's Atiwa and Fortune and Glory. Well, I can take the lid off this game for you and show you, I guess, some of what's in the box. It's nicely published. And it has an action selection mechanism in it to count the rounds, which is helpful. So you have these, I think, 6 or 7 tiles on the board.
6.
And once you, at the end of the round, you just move that tile to the left. And it not only changes the action selection of what you're going to choose, but it counts the rounds for you. And that's pretty cool. This game remains fresh for a long time because of that. You can shuffle those tiles up, and the actions are always going to be different. In what you're going to select. And you have farm cards, location cards, a whole bag of bats. Oh, I love all this stuff. Fruit and wild animals and goats, and just a nicely published game. The usual job done by Lookout Games, and it's just it's a nicely done game. I just wanted to show it to you. You get that draw bag with the game, I believe, right?
Yes.
So you get that draw bag with the game because you're going to draw pollution.
Yeah.
Yeah. When do you do that? If you draw
If your
pollution?
families aren't trained.
Yeah. If your families aren't trained at the end of the round, you have to draw pollution, right?
Yeah, and you may get some gold,
Yeah.
but it also pollutes. And they said that was to show you that by pulling the gold out of the ground, they are polluting. So
Yeah. That's so thematic.
yeah, the game is very thematic, and it explains in the rule book why all the things you are doing, what they actually have to do with what's going on.
Yep. So, hey, yeah, it's so thematic to have to pollute, and in that mechanic, you can plan for the pollution because you're probably going to draw it once in a while.
You know where it goes.
Yeah, and
so.
you have to know where you leave those spaces open so they can go there. But that's part of the game. There are, again, advanced levels, so it's not a light game by any means. You have to learn some things, but it is a fun game and is so thematic and so important. Anyways, that's Atiwa and Fortune and Glory. So I wanted to tell you about both those games today, and let you know that they're, as far as I'm concerned, they're outstanding board games. And I will see you the next time on The Bones Collector. Please like and subscribe and share this video. It helps us so much. And I say it all the time, this is mainly focused on senior citizens because we believe that, and everyone's going to get older, and it's important to exercise your mind as well as your body. And board gaming is a way to do that, a fun way to do that. And we're fascinated with it and keep being fascinated by it the longer we play board games. So I love every one of you. Keep on board gaming. Best hobby on the planet. And I'll see you the next time here on The Bones Collector. Bye-bye.